Hello everybody, welcome to World Monologue Games. You are watching the regional finals and this is the endurance category. My name is Pete Malicki. I am the creator of World Monologue Games. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for joining us. So a little bit about the event and the show you're about to watch, and then I will hand over to our performers. So the endurance category it consists of monologues which run for 5 to 10 minutes. It's quite an acting feat. It's no easy thing to do. We have 6 shows in the endurance category over the next 2 weekends. This weekend we also have another category which is called Sprint, 45 to 60-second monologues. We have a show tomorrow, that's Saturday, and tomorrow week, Saturday week as well in the Sprint category. A little bit of background about the event though. We've had probably close to 5,000 actors register for the games over the last 2 years, and in 2021 we have put the best 350 performers through to the regional live streams, the regional live stream finals. We are doing a massive 27 shows. We've already done one category last weekend, the main amateur category, so 24 shows to go including this one. And we have, what other information do I have? Lots of statistics. There's just such a big event that there's lots of numbers and statistics that fly around. But just a few more things before we move on with the performers. So you get to vote as our viewers. You get to vote for your 2 favorite performers. You cannot vote yet. The voting lines are not open. They will remain open from the end of the event for 48 hours. I'll jump back on after the performers and say a few more words about how you vote and all of that. We also have judges who are watching, and they're going to put their favorite performer through to the global finals, the best 95 or so performers from 6 different categories for 2021. There might be some strong language in the show today or some adult themes. We let people basically perform whatever they feel like, so that sometimes people choose some pretty strongly themed things, dark topics, lots of swearing and whatnot. That's always a possibility, so please be warned if you're sensitive to that kind of thing. If you want to throw us some support, sorry, I'm really struggling talking tonight. If you want to throw us some support, hit the like button. That helps us reach more people, whether you're watching live or later. It's an awesome thing for us. Subscribe, and then that way you will get the notifications for all of our remaining shows. You can, if you want to be super amazing, send us a small donation. We have not received any donations this year. Not that it matters, because this is a free event and you're very welcome to just enjoy it. Or you could buy some merchandise. We have World Monologue Games merch, so that's like a donation, but you also get something. All right, look, I think I might pass over now to a pre-recorded message from our global ambassador, actor Chen Tang. He's going to say a few words, and then we'll hand right over to the performers. Hope you enjoy the show. You are watching Endurance, Asia, Europe, South and Central America. Enjoy.
Hello everyone, welcome. You are now watching the regional live stream finals for the World Monologue Games, and we have got a hell of a show for you today. I can't wait for you to see some of these amazingly talented actors, so sit back, get comfortable, and enjoy the show.
I have the ability to read the shimmers and flickers. Most animals communicate with them, or the windows of one's soul, as some might say. I'm not one of them, no. I've been schooled the scientific way. Science, science makes sense. It's logical. It's easy. Whereas Nick, oh, I know Nick blames me. He's not said anything, but I know he must have the wrong end of the stick. That night, well, to be fair, that morning, it started that morning. Javier came down to the kitchen whilst I was making tea, just for me. The guys mostly keep themselves to themselves. And Jav starts tinkering away doing whatever. I really wasn't paying any attention. But as I sat there to drink my tea, I became aware that he kept quietly coughing, ever so slightly, like clearing the throat. Well, I'm not the best morning person. I generally like my mornings to start with just me and well-brewed green tea. This was not one of those mornings. Jav kept interrupting my thoughts with this cough as if to say something, but never did. It pissed me off, so I mutter or say something, I don't know what, just reactionary. I booked the day off to help you, was his response. Now he has my full attention. The day is a Saturday. I had uncharacteristically closed the practice because I had my parents coming over for dinner later that evening. Yes, it's a big thing. Oh, I have an awful lot to live up to when it comes to my parents, so having them over for dinner was just me being, I don't know, nice? I don't know. Anyway, I can be rather resourceful when I want to be, so I decided to cheat a little. I had asked Javier if he'd bring home a dessert from the Black Fig where he works. Did I mention that he's a pastry chef at a Michelin star restaurant? Well, that had to impress Mummy and Daddy, no? Well, he agreed, which was great, but I never asked him to help out with the rest of the cooking. For Jav is probably one of the most, if not the most passionate person I know when it comes to his job. And not just his job, actually. He's just a genuinely intrinsic, passionate being about most things, and with the biggest of hearts. Oh dear. So, booking a day off to help me, his tetchy landlady, well, it all went kind of quiet, heavy quiet, like lying under a duvet. You're aware the world is going on around you, you recognise familiar sounds, but they're just compressed sound waves, no clarity. I was aware I was sitting there with my cup of tea, staring at Shav, yet it all felt very weird. Shav would never book a Saturday off, yet he had, to help me. that day I can only describe as fun. Oh, actually, really good fun. Being a Saturday, Nick was out working, so it was just Shav and I in the house, and we chopped, sliced, diced, sipped, sang, swayed, giggled, glanced, and gazed. Wow. You know those dreams? The ones where you're walking along a cliff and you suddenly fall off the edge? Yeah, that's that. The exact lurching of a stomach. Completely involuntary reaction, even though it's your body, the one you're supposed to be in control of. Do you know I can't stand it? Or maybe I don't understand it. Do you know I don't know which? I don't honestly care. I just know it happened now, like that Saturday. But today, no fears. So dinner was prepared well in advance. So I begin laying the table, and that's when the thought struck me, for heaven's sake, it would have been rude not to, even by my standards. So I insisted Jav join my parents and I for dinner. It was a great evening. No, honestly, very relaxed, very chatty. The food, oh my God, just exquisite, sublime. I am ashamed to say I had never sampled Javier's talents until then. I was actually enjoying myself. I know. My parents were in good spirits, and they thought Jav was nothing short of amazing. And it was more than evident to me by the way they kept side-glancing to one another and subtly nodding that they thought finally their daughter had not just found a boyfriend, but a jolly decent one too. I didn't have the heart to tell them Jav's actual boyfriend would be home later that night. What they didn't know wouldn't hurt them, and they left happy, and that was the main objective. So I begin clearing up, and Jav even helps on that front too, which was when I felt rather guilty about everything he had done for me that day. So I insisted we stop there and let our hair down. We deserved it. I don't know, I was in such a good mood. I was lightheaded, yes, from the alcohol, but in a fun way, not the usual heavy, tired one. I felt like I was 21 again, utterly carefree and reckless. I didn't want the evening to end. So just imagine, I grab a half-finished bottle of something off the table, top up my glass, and go off to turn up the volume because I was going to party. Oh, there is something to be said about that infectious energy, and I was soaking it all in, devouring it all through my every pore, allowing it to pulsate through that life force, yes. Oh, transcending the conventional. And on it went, that pure energy rippling through the negative space in search of its next receptor. Javier. Through him it went. And I watched him. I watched him dance and sing and close his eyes Through him it went. And I saw him open his eyes and smile. It was an inexplicable mutual appreciation that I didn't want my scientific head analysing. So I had an idea. I quickly nipped upstairs and back to the kitchen where I prepared a few lines of cocaine. I knew Jav would be all right with all that. For heaven's sake, Nick was his boyfriend, who was always justifying his insatiable appetite for such things. Nothing was off limits for Nick as far as I could tell. Anyway, I offered to Jav and he declined, which took me back a little, to be perfectly honest. I clearly had not hid my reaction because Javier laughed. He came over to me. He said, "Be my guest." He hugged me. Cliff edge. He kissed me. He drank. I dabbled. And then I began laughing again and he joined in and we danced some more. Later, Jav explained to me why he had declined. I was astonished to find out he'd been diagnosed with cardiomyopathy, an enlarged heart, and had never taken drugs of any kind whatsoever for fear of triggering off the real beast, i.e. the actual underlying condition the doctors were still trying to ascertain. Jav was living with the symptom without knowing what was the cause. He was also living with Nick, which is why I assumed naturally. An easy mistake to make. Needless to say, the party animal in me had been tamed. I needed a shower. It was a spontaneous thing. I was still processing narcotics, remember. I went upstairs, came back down, hair all wet, just in my dressing gown. I don't know why exactly. I guess just to say goodnight to Javier and thank you. Either way, as I approached him, he looked up at me and he was uncontrollably sobbing. His dark eyes all glistening, staring up at me. The pain. Oh my God, the pain. I could read it all. Eventually I whispered, "It's going to be okay." I held out my hands at me. As he took them, he stood up and we hugged and I squeezed and squeezed him so he knew he was safe. And we just held hands for a little while and he looked at me and nodded. And I kissed his hands and nodded back. Then went up to bed. Javier followed soon afterwards, the poor confused creature. At some point in the late early hours, I don't know when, I heard Nick come in. I didn't get up, I just listened to the noises downstairs. I didn't get up when I heard raised voices from their room across the landing. Nor did I when I heard the front door close. The light was ever so slightly starting to penetrate the room and introduce familiar forms that I just did not want to see, so I closed my eyes and focused on the muted sounds of the birds starting their day, which at some point was suddenly substituted by the ringing of the phone. That's when I got up. That's when I discovered Jab was in hospital, in a coma. That's when I noticed there was no cocaine left on the counter. That's when I knew I'd lied. It wasn't okay. It wasn't. I wasn't there when he needed me. I didn't get up.
Si algo me ha enseñado la vida es que vivir es el gran riesgo de dejarse existir. A ti no te he contado, pero a cada momento tengo la necesidad de voltear a mis espaldas, como si algo trágico estuviera a punto de suceder. Como si alguien me acechara o algo me persiguiera. Mi reto diario es mantener la calma, mirar al frente, confiar y sentir que todo va a estar bien. No hay por qué mirar atrás y protegerme de algo o de alguien. Elijo encarar el presente y lo que tenga enfrente, con lo difícil que eso a veces puede ser. Porque sabemos que el mundo que hemos construido se está cayendo a pedazos. Y que aquí, o en cualquier otro lugar, las cosas van terriblemente mal. Así como sabemos que en cualquier otro sitio, más allá de la situación, existe una madre con su hijo, riéndose juntos. Y que mientras vivan los adolescentes no morirá la rebeldía. Porque ¿quién no quiere ser ese joven? Aquel que se avienta a decir no contra todo. Y que se impone todas sus reglas. Yo desde hace tiempo que trato de iluminar con sonrisas mi oscuridad. Sonrisas que mitigan el dolor de resistir el llanto que internamente tampoco cesa. Aunque eso a veces me haya hecho falso, cubriendo con mis risas las ganas de tirarme al piso y bramar con el hastío que hacia este mundo llego a sentir. Ojalá los extraños pudieran temerse menos, conocerse más. Ojalá pudiéramos tratarnos a nosotros mismos con más amabilidad, confiar más en nosotros mismos. Me pongo emocional al hablar de estos temas. Abrirme, decir francamente lo que pienso, poner a hablar a este chico tímido que no confía tanto en sí, que todavía habita en mí y en los recuerdos de los desaciertos que se pegan en mi mente y que después ya no se quieren ir, haciendo de mí un doliente ser humano más. ¿Por qué es tan difícil moverse con sinceridad por esta vida? Y es que es compleja esta vida. Aunque cuando estoy con Cecilia, su sola presencia me hace sentir que la vida es más sencilla de lo que creo. ¿Quién sabe? Quizás sí lo sea. Hace una bonita mañana de agosto. En un par de días mi padre cumple años. El año pasado se me olvidó felicitarlo. No sé. Todo estaba mal. Yo estaba mal. El mundo estaba enfermándose. Si de por sí los 20 es una etapa en la que se está bastante perdido. Yo también sigo descubriendo al mundo. Sigo entendiendo de qué va esta vida. Mi vida, porque he entendido que no todas las vidas son iguales. Cada quien tiene algo único, identitario. Y cada quien tiene su propio camino trazado. O cada quien lo va trazando. No hay reglas, solo acuerdos. Y se hace camino al andar, como diría la canción. Se hace camino al andar. Hoy solo me sueño y me busco en mi libertad. Y lo que he hecho, lo he hecho por encontrarla a toda costa. Hace ya 6 años que salí de mi casa. Y ahora estoy acá, en este lugar que me hace sentir un poco más tranquilo. Extraño a mi familia, mi casa, mis amigos. Extraño a mi padre. Y este año lo voy a celebrar.
Students, good morning, good morning, good morning. எல்லாரும் நல்லா இருக்கீங்களா? லீவ்லாம் நல்லா என்ஜாய் பண்ணீங்களா? என்னப்பா பிரபு குண்டாயிட்ட? இவனப்பாருப்பா தம் துண்டு தான் ஹைட் ஆயிட்டான். Good, good. Students, please be silent. Attendance first. Roll number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 என்னாச்சு absent 6 7 8 9 10 அங்க என்ன பண்ணிட்டு இருக்க நீ? அட்டெண்டன்ஸ் கூட ஒழுங்கா சொல்ல முடியாது. அங்க என்ன பக்கத்துல பேச்சு? ஏந்திர, ஸ்டாண்ட் அப் ஆன் த பெஞ்ச். வந்தனா அடி வாங்க போற. 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20. Okay, all present except one. Good. Students, உங்க எல்லாருக்கும் நேத்து வந்து கர்சிவ் ரைட்டிங் எழுதிட்டு வரணும் சொன்னேன். எழுதுனீங்களா இல்லையா? யாரெல்லாம் எழுதல? என்னப்பா பிரபு நீ எழுதுனியா? ஷீலா நீங்க எழுதுனீங்களா? அப்ப யாருமே எழுதலையா? என்ன பண்ணீங்க? ஓ, டிவி பார்த்துட்டு இருந்தீங்களா? டிவியில் என்ன பார்த்தீங்க? அந்த குரு ஜோக்கர் படத்தோட ஹீரோ குரு சோமு சாரோட ப்ரோக்ராம் பார்த்தீங்களா? குட், நானும் பார்த்தேன். நல்லா இருந்துச்சுல்ல? எஸ். இப்போ நம்ம அதை ட்ரை பண்ணலாமா? ஓகே. ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், ஒவ்வொரு ஹியூமன்ஸ்குள்ளேயும் 9 டிஃப்ரெண்ட் எமோஷன்ஸ் இருக்கும். அதை தான் நவரசா அப்படின்வாங்க. ஸோ ஃபஸ்ட்டு வந்து சிங்காரா. சிங்காரானா லவ். நீங்கள் உங்கள் அம்மா மேலே வச்சுருக்க பாசம், உங்கள் அம்மா உங்கள் மேலே வச்சுருக்க பாசம், அது ஒரு பியூட்டி. அதுதான் வந்து சிங்காரா. இப்போ அதை நம்ம ட்ரை பண்ணலாம். தாங்கத்தோம் திம் தா திமித்துக்க தாக்க தாக்கதோம் திமித்தத்தை. அப்புறம் ரவுத்ரா. உங்களெல்லாம் படிச்சுட்டு வர சொன்னால் படிக்காமல் வந்துட்டு என்ன டென்ஷன் பண்ணுவீங்க பாருங்க. தாங்கத்தோம் திம் தா திம்மி தக்க தாக்க தாக்கதோம் திமி தத்தை. அப்புறம் ஆசியா. ஃபன். நம்ம ஃபன்னாக இருக்கும்போது சிரிச்சிட்டே இருப்போம்ல, அதான் ஆசியா. தாங்கத்தோம் திம் தா திமி கிட்ட தாக்க தாக்கதோம் திமி தத்தை. அப்புறம் வீரா, பிரேவ். ஓகே. தாங்கத்தோம் திம் தா திமி தக்க தாக்க தாக்கதோம் திமி தத்தை. பயானகா, ஃபியர். தாங்கத்தோம் திம் தா திமி தக்க தாக தாகதோம் திமி தத்தை. அற்புதா. நம்ம ஃபன் பிளேஸ் போகும்போது என்ஜாய் பண்ணுவோம் பாருங்க, அதுதான் வந்து சர்ப்ரைஸ். தாங்கத்தோம் திம் தா திமி கிட்ட தாக தாகதோம் திமி தத்தை. டிஸ்கஸ்டிங். எவனாவது ஏதாவது மிஸ்ட்டு வந்துட்டு நாத்தம் தாங்காது, குடலை பெறட்டும், அதான் டிஸ்கஸ்டிங். இப்போ பண்ணலாம். தாங்கத்தோம் திம் தா திம்மி தக்க சி சி டு டு தாக தாகதோம் திமி தத்தை. கருணா. உங்கதில் யாருக்காவது அடிபட்டுச்சுனாக்கா நம்ம எவ்வளோ இறக்கப்படுவோம், அதுதான் கருணா. தாங்கத்தோம் திம் தா திம்மி கட்ட தாக தாகதோம் திமி தத்தை. அப்புறம் சாந்தா, அமைதியாக இருக்கிறது. தாங்கத்தோம் திம் தா திம்மி கிட்ட தாக தாகதோம் திமி தத்தை. நம்ம ப்ரேயரில் இருப்போம்ல அமைதியாக, அதுதான் சாந்தா. ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், இதுதான் 9 டிஃப்ரெண்ட் எமோஷன்ஸ். இதை உங்கள் எல்லாருக்கும் நான் ஃபன் டைமில் சொல்லி தருவேன், நீங்களும் பண்ணணும். ஓகே, நெக்ஸ்ட் மூவிங் ஆன் டு த லெசன்ஸ். ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் நல்லா கவனிங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் நான் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்கும்போது தெரியலன்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா நான் ரொம்ப கோவப்பட்டுருவேன். ஒரு ஊரில் ஒரு விவசாயி இருந்தாங்களாம். விவசாயினா யாருன்னு தெரியுமா? யார்? ஃபார்மர்ஸ், கரெக்ட். அந்த விவசாயி என்ன பண்ணாரா? விஜய், எப்போ பார்த்தாலும் யூ ஆர் ஸ்பீக்கிங் விஜய், ஏன் இவ்வளோ நாட்டியாக இருக்க? பாடம் நடக்கும்போது பாடத்தை கவனிக்கணும். அதை தவிர்த்து ஏதாவது பண்ணீங்க உங்கள் எல்லாரும் நான் அடிச்சிடுவேன். போ கிரவுண்டை சுற்றி 3 ரவுண்டு ஓடு, அப்புறம் 100 சூப்பர் யோகா பண்ணு, அப்போ எல்லாம் சரியாயிடும். டெய்லி பண்ணணும் அது. ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், இவங்களோட அம்மா கிட்ட நான் சொல்கிறேன், ஏன் உங்கள் பையன் இவ்வளோ வாளாக இருக்கான்ட்டு, எப்படி சமாளிக்கிறீங்கன்னு கேட்குறேன். அவங்க சொல்கிறாங்க, அதுக்கு தான் சார் உங்ககிட்ட அமைச்சிருக்கோம் அப்படின்ட்டு. உங்களுக்கெல்லாம் பாடம் சொல்லித்தரது தான் எங்கள் வேலை, உங்களுக்கு வந்து மேய்க்கிறதும் எங்கள் வேலையா? பிச்சு போடுவோம், பிச்சு உக்கார். அந்த விவசாயி என்ன பண்ணாரா? அவரோட நிலத்துக்காக நீர் தேடி ஊரெங்கும் போய் அலைஞ்சாராம். எங்கே தேடியும் நீர் கிடைக்கலையா. அவர் ரொம்ப கவலையாக இருந்தாராம். அப்போ அவங்க பக்கத்து வீட்டுக்காரர், அவர் வந்து ஒரு தந்திரமான மனிதர். தந்திரமானவங்கன்னா உள்ளுக்குள்ளே ஏதாவது ஒரு பிளான் வச்சுக்கிட்டு நம்மக்கிட்ட வந்து அவங்க நம்ம தலையில் கட்டிடுவாங்க, ஏதாவது ஒரு பொருள் ஒன்றுமோ பண்ணிவிட்டு நம்மளுக்கு நஷ்டத்தை ஏற்படுத்திடுவாங்க. அதுதான் தந்திரமானவங்க. ஸோ அந்த தந்திரமான மனிதர் என்ன பண்ணாரா? வந்து என்னையா ராமையா இங்கே உட்காந்துக்கிற, என்னையா பண்ணுற அப்படின்னு, கவலையாக இருக்கிற அப்படின்னு கேட்டாராம். அப்போ ராமையா சொன்னாராம், இல்லைங்கய்யா, ஊரெங்கும் தேடி பார்த்தேன், என் நிலத்துக்கு தண்ணியே கிடைக்கலையா. அப்போ இந்த ராமையா சொன்னாராம், நாப்பா நீ நம்மளாண்டா வாப்பா, என்னோட பெரிய கிணறு இருக்குதுப்பா, அங்கப்பார் தண்ணி உள்ளந்தே ஊற்றுவிடும், இதை வாங்கிக்கோப்பா. என்னங்கய்யா விலை? 5 லட்சம்ப்பா, உனக்கு நான் 3 லட்சத்துக்கு தரேன். சரிங்கய்யா அப்படின்னு ராமையா அந்த கிணத்தை வாங்கிடுறாராம். ராமையா வந்து சந்தோஷமாக மறுநாள் வந்துட்டு விவசாயம் பண்ணலான்ட்டு நீர் எடுக்கலான்னு பண்ணுறாராம். அப்போ வந்து இவர் ஓடி வந்துட்டு, ராமையா 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 இரியா, நாயா பண்ணுற நீ? தண்ணியெல்லாம் எடுக்கக்கூடாது, நான் உனக்கு கிணறு மட்டும்தான் விற்றேன், தண்ணியை விற்கல, புரியுதா அப்படின்ட்டு போய்ட்றாராம். இந்த விவசாயி ராமையா ரொம்ப கவலைப்படுறாராம். அப்போ என்ன பண்ணாராம் இந்த ராமையா, அந்த ஊர்லேயே அக்பரோட, பேரரசர் அக்பரோட 9 முக்கியமான மந்திரிகள், அதில் ஒருவரான பீர்பால் கிட்ட போகிறாராம். ஸோ பீர்பால் என்ன பண்ணாராம், இந்த விவசாயியும் கூப்பிட்டு, அப்புறம் இந்த தந்திரமான மனிதரையும் கூப்பிட்டு, ஏயா நீ உன் கிணறு இவருக்கு வித்தையா அப்படின்னு கேட்குறாராம். ஆமாங்க ஐயா, நான் அவருக்கு விற்றேன். அப்போ ஏன் அவரை தண்ணி எடுக்க விட மாட்டேற? திருப்பியும் சொல்கிறானா, இல்லையா நான் கிணறு மட்டும்தான் விற்றேன், தண்ணியை விற்கல. சரி ஓகே, நீ உன்னோட கிணறை மட்டும்தானே அவருக்கு விற்ற, தண்ணியை விற்கல, அப்புறம் ஏன் அவர் கிணத்துல உன்னோட தண்ணியை வச்சிருக்க? உடனே அந்த தண்ணியை இடம் மாற்றிடு, இல்லைனா யூஸ் பண்ணிடு. என்ன சொன்னார்? தண்ணியை இடம் மாற்றிடணும், இல்லைனா யூஸ் பண்ணிடணும். அப்போ தான் அவனுக்கு புத்தி வந்து தான், நம்மளுக்கு நல்ல புத்தி சொல்கிறதுக்கு தான் பீர்பால் இப்படி சொல்கிறாருன்னுட்டு, என்ன மன்னிச்சிடுங்க ஐயா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு மன்னிப்பு கேட்டுட்டு போயிடுறாராம். அப்புறம் விவசாயி ஹாப்பி ஆயிட்டாராம். ஸோ மாரல் ஆஃப் த ஸ்டோரி என்ன? யாரையும் நம்ம ஏமாற்றக்கூடாது. நம்ம யாராச்சும் ஏமாற்றணும்னு நினச்சோன்னா நம்ம தான் அதுக்கு நிறைய வேலை கொடுக்கணும். புரிஞ்சுதுங்களா ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்? டுடே ஒன் டே ஐ வில் கிவ் எக்ஸ்கியூஸ். நாளைக்கு எல்லோரும் கண்டிப்பாக ஹோம்ஒர்க் எழுதிட்டு வந்துகிட்டே இருக்கணும். புரியுதுங்களா? ஹோம்ஒர்க் யாராவது எழுதலைன்னா நான் ரொம்ப கோவப்பட்டுருவேன். அப்புறம் இந்த லெசன்ஸையும் படிச்சுட்டு வரணும். நாளைக்கு கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்பேன். இங்கே பாருங்கள், நல்லா படிக்கணும் எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து. தெரியாதவங்க தெரிஞ்சவங்க கிட்ட கேட்டு கற்றுக்கோங்க, தெரிஞ்சவங்க தெரியாதவங்களுக்கு கற்றுக் கொடுங்க. ஓகேங்களா? எல்லாரும் நல்ல மார்க் எடுக்கணும். ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், எனக்கு டைம் ஆயிடுச்சு, நெக்ஸ்ட் கிளாஸ் இருக்குது, நான் போகிறேன், எல்லாரும் அமைதியாக இருக்கணும் நெக்ஸ்ட் டீச்சர் வர வரைக்கும், இல்லைனா பிச்சிருவேன் பிச்சு. தேங்க்யூ ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், டேக் கேர்.
Dear Time, I have a question for you. Why did you leave him? Most nights, hand in hand with you, I find myself walking down a dark street, aimlessly. Because of you, I had just lost a friend, and all I want to do is leave you behind and walk forever and ever. Time. Why does it hurt so bad? This sick, heavy feeling knowing he's gone is just so sad. All I want to feel is something else rather than these painful, fateful cards you've dealt, the dice you rolled that left this gaping, unbearable black hole of sorrow. All I want to do is walk until my feet bleed and glass shards and gravel riddle and tear at my soles. So I did. I walked. I let myself fall onto the dirt and concrete, scraped my hands and knees. My head hit the floor. But I felt no pain. And as I lay there on the cold tarmac, wishing it was me you had left and not him, all you did was watch. And last night, while I drowned in smoke and booze, you had the audacity to ask me if everything was okay. How could you ask me that? Why didn't you just stay? Amidst the freezing and screaming winds, I found myself on top of a hill. But despite the roaring trees and flailing grass and your steady, taunting and ticking heart slamming in my wrist, to me, everything was still. It should have been still. I wish it was still. Quiet. Time, my fingers have ripped out clumps of grass in my hair. I have howled at the moon and stars and begged for you to go back to him, but you never even cared to listen or hear, and all you did was watch, leer, aloof, detached, disrespectful. Time. In this ear-piercing silence, I found myself on top of a building. And looking down on those tiny cars and little lights, I asked you, if I were to fall, would you stop just for one precious second? But through your noiseless and cold-hearted gaze, you said no. Dear Time, you've made him an artist and he's left his mark. I hope you like art, for when he died, he painted the wall. Those marks were loose and expressive, alluring and nightmarish, a beautiful tragedy, if you will. And the price was his life. 2 FaceTime. I am so fucking angry at you. They all say you heal all wounds with your lingering, kind touch, but that's not true, is it? Time heals all wounds. Just give it time. Next time, it'll be better. I see past your facade, your disguise. I know it's you who buries and maims by letting go of trusting hands and walking away. Don't lie. You didn't even stop to look as you left him in the dust with a broken heart and poisoned veins and a beautiful mind he was convinced was insane, immoral, fatal, tempestuous time. In this abusive relationship, he knew you were leaving. Everyone knows you are precious. And he certainly did. Everyone wishes you would slow down, wait, but can't say shit because we, the human race, are in no place to negotiate. Dear time, you are fickle and selfish. As soon as you decide to leave someone behind you attached like a parasite to someone new, ready to leave before those billions you've hurt have even had the chance to grieve. You're arrogant. There, I said it. How many lives are you planning to break? How many souls are you planning to take? How many hearts must deeply ache because of your repulsive, fake sympathy? You're a liar. How many innocent fools will you guiltlessly lie to like you did to him and tell them that they matter to you when you are a mere tick-tock away from flicking them astray like a spent cigarette into fire? Dear time, I hope you know that as I write you this pointless letter that I'm not stupid. I know you will make me fall for you and being alive again with your reassuring lies and enslaving touch and exquisite pain. I know that I have no choice but to keep holding your hand until inevitably one of two things will happen. You will either pry your hands out of mine or squeeze so hard till I must let go. And so, time. I want you to know that I know the truth of your untruth, and the truth is you are but a space for terrible and magical things to happen. I may as well be talking to a wall. But I can't help but try. I tell myself I have to try. I know in my heart it would be wrong for me not to try. But now, when given the chance, I just break down and cry and write you this pointless letter and hope that things will get better and that the light will once again shine. Perhaps this is more for me than it is for him. Because the sad thing is, I know you. And I know that you will never, ever change. Never change, never change, never change, never change, never change, never, ever change. So, time. I guess. Fuck you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, little brother. You are now 50 years old. You probably fart in public. You pee in the pool. I mean, you may not control your poo. You are now 50 years old. I never thought I would see the day. I mean, I never pictured myself as 50, but that kind of turned out to be true. I mean, I did age after 25. But you also never thought about it. I never pictured. But then here you are. You know, I always wondered that, you know, because I took the F1 serum and all, that I won't have a complete experience in life. I won't age, so I won't know the nitty-gritty stuff. You know, the complete journeyman experience. I won't have that, but when I saw your pictures, I was like, fuck all that. Fuck the wisdom. Fuck the experience. I'm okay with staying in my 20s as a handsome devil. Oh, all joking aside, I am proud of you, bro. I'm pretty sure Dad would be proud too. You may think that he'd be more proud of me because of my success and everything, but honestly, when I look back, all that success, all those medals, I can only experience pride, which is good. It keeps my ego going. I mean, it helps me focus on the next mission. It's good for me, but other than that, I don't think I had much of a life. But when you look back, you will see that you had lived a life of love. I mean, there are so many hardships, but from right where you are now, it would all seem worth it. Because of love. I know, love your wife or kids. I know that seems very simple and cheesy, but I think deep down, it's what everyone wants. So you have it in the best way you can think of. Never forget that. That's why my birthday gift to you is honesty. But what I'm going to say to you is going to be so hard for you to take in. It may even change the way you see me. But here it is. The reason why we haven't completed our mission isn't because we haven't found a planet that is habitable. When we got out of the wormhole, we searched for like 15 years and we did find a planet that was perfect for us. But it had life. Not basic microbes, it had sentient life. But they were cool. I mean, they were okay with us coming there. They were welcoming. They were even okay with the idea of sharing their world with us. Like I said, downright cool. But we did not call. The reason being that when we were about to call it in, we had something of a revelation. I mean, we thought to ourselves, we were going to be the greatest explorers of all time. I mean, Columbus, Vespucci, all these guys are in the dust now. We have discovered something that is far beyond what they have discovered. And I mean, you can say that they thought the same thing at their time, but you know, we answered the age-old question. I mean, aliens, here you go. We got them. And yeah, we couldn't help but to feel proud. But then something hit us, something that John said while he was half drunk. He said that, well, we view these explorers as great men. I mean, but what about the natives? Did they really see them as great men? After all the pain, misery, the loss that they experienced because of these great men, did they share that same view? I mean, to our cultures, hell yeah. I mean, they were the best. They provided so many things for us, but what about the lost cultures? What were they really to them? I mean, they would have been little bringers of death. I mean, they would have thought them as demons, literal monsters, washed up in their shores, whom they thought were friends, by the way. But they also brought others who robbed, who pillaged, who destroyed, and made them go through so much shit that no one should ever experience. So we couldn't help but to wonder what would our discovery would bring upon these people. And I'm sorry to say that we couldn't think of anything positive, because history has taught us is that we as a species are not worthy. We are not good at sharing, we're good at taking things, we are simply not worthy. That's why we did not call, we didn't notify our discovery. We told them that we are still searching, but unfortunately Mission Command has gotten suspicious. Pretty soon they're sending a cruiser here to provide more assistance. But honestly, they're here to monitor us and find out what's up for real. And before that happens, we need to stop them. That's why we have decided that we're going to destroy the wormhole that brought us here using the ship reactors. We're going to use nuclear fusion and match the energy signatures of the wormhole and disintegrate it from within. And that will stop me from seeing you and everyone ever again. I'm sorry to say the worst comes afterwards, because my name, your names, are going to go through so much shame on earth because of what I did. I would be viewed as a traitor. The whole crew here would be viewed as a traitor, but we're okay with that. I don't care what they think, because I know that greed can make us monsters, and this was about greed. I mean, maybe masked under the pursuit of knowledge, the great experience that we need to explore, salvation and all that crap, but honestly is that deep down it was about greed. But you are not a greedy man, so I want you to know is that I chose treachery because it was the right thing to do. I mean, even if you have a single doubt, just imagine this guy, okay? Go through this scenario. Imagine a stranger comes to your house. He takes everything that you own. Not just your stuff, I mean like your wife, your kids, your identity, your history, and leaves you with absolute nothing. Or worse, he leaves you with lifetime of torture and enslavement. How would you feel? Huh? You know, I'm not a history nerd, but after I got here, I couldn't think of anything but history. I mean, I remember an autobiography I read in college. An autobiography by Alado Equiano, who was a slave since he was a boy, so he wrote down his experience. And this passage keeps coming back to me. It says that I was soon put down under the decks, and there I received such salutation in my nostrils that I had ever experienced in my life. So that the loathsomeness of stench and crying together, I became so sick and low, I was not able to eat, nor I had the least desire to taste anything. I now wish for the last friend, death, to relieve me. Let me remind you, this was a boy going through all this, these were his thoughts, his experience. A boy.
Christian just couldn't see it. That was the most unbelievable thing. He just couldn't see how shitty his false expression on his face made me feel. So, it was so fuck. Even I'm not able to describe his stupid face expression. You know what? I don't care. I don't care. He's an asshole no matter what. He's been like that all my life. The real problem is that I loved him. Okay. I love him. The son of a bitch is part of my life, you know? How could I not love him? How? I can't. I can't do that. I love that fucking piece of shit. But he's so pathetic. Such a liar. Years ago, when I was a kid, I never really saw his true face. I never really saw his real way of thinking. I never really knew how he looked at me. How he always made me feel lack of affection. On top of that, the smell of spaghetti with bolognese and asparagus instant soup had me with such a hunger that it got mixed with the memory of when we were kids and I used to visit him every Sunday. Everything just to keep hearing him saying that he was a good guy. A guy that takes care for the sperm that he tragically let escape years ago. And that fucking cake. Ah! That fucking cake. In that precise moment, Christian puts the plate with asparagus instant soup in front of me so we can start a reunion. His kind face fills my heart. However, in my mind I start thinking, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Why are you acting like you're doing the biggest act of love just by serving me a smelly instant soup that you bought from the corner shop? And by the way, it's so fucking obvious you just bought it 5 minutes ago because of course you forgot I was going to visit you today. You forgot I was going to visit you today. You forgot it. Christian sat at the head of the table. I mean,
He would never leave his patriarchal manners. And his eyes shined with joy. One, two, three, 4, 5. Drench in hot green soup. He watched me as I started crashing all the plates on the table, on the kitchen. All of them. Sunshine, please, don't drown on your own misery. I never thought that smoked glass plate can break like the sun of the sea.
Hey babe, tell me what you wanna be. Float your mind and listen to the beat. Rocking to the levels, you're so fortunate free. Looking up in her eyes, they mean.
All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks very much for watching. So just a few things to wrap up with. If you would like to get involved in World Monologue Games, we would love to have you. You can register as an actor for next year, or you can sign up as a fan, or a judge, or a sponsor, or a volunteer. There's a link in the description of this video, so check that out. Do subscribe to the channel if you'd like to catch more of our shows. That's a good way of getting notifications, or join our mailing list. Both of those things will help us tell you when we're on next. Shout out to our sponsors. If you have a look in the description, there's links to our sponsors, Arts Business Academy and Nyakachana. Show those guys some love because they have very generously donated almost $5,000 worth of cash to give to our performers as prizes between them. That's really, really lovely of them. There are 5 more endurance shows. There's another 2 over this weekend and 3 next week, as well as the sprint show. So there's the sprint show is tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I think, Australian Eastern Standard Time, and shortly followed by the next endurance show. I should know this, but clearly I haven't remembered the timetable. There's 27 shows. My mind is already a little bit fuzzy. Apologies. But yeah, lots of shows in this category and more World Monologue Games. Now, in terms of voting, you get to vote for your 2 favorite performers from this show. I am just saving an edit to the description of this video, which means there is now a link to the voting form published on YouTube in the video's description. If you're watching live, you'll have to refresh the page before you can see that. You've got 48 hours from the end of the stream to vote for your favorite performers, and we're going to be putting 2 performers, the top 2 of the viewer vote throughout the entire endurance category, into the global finals, along with the judges' choice from each show. I'm not sure there's much else I need to say. Maybe just a couple of quick points on the voting. You do need to have an account. That's just to make sure that we get good, non-cheater votes with people putting in dodgy email addresses. So apologies for the inconvenience of having to create an account. But most people have a Google account these days anyway. Performers, remember, don't share the voting link, share the show link to make sure that people come and watch this fantastic event. All right, guys, it's lovely to have you. Thanks again for watching World Monologue Games Regional Finals. I will see you tomorrow or at a later stream. Ciao.